Woo! All right, welcome. My name is Jeremy Adams. I am the writer of this little thing.
And my name is Rick Morales. I am the producer and director of this one.
Welcome to Mortal Kombat. So, obviously, if you're listening to this, you have seen this already, which is great because I haven't. This is my first time.
We like to bring him in.
Yeah, to react to the violence. But we can talk about a bunch of things. One of the things, oh, look at the statue. Beloved hero of the realms. Lovely.
Yeah, I wanted to throw that in there because I wanted a little nod of what came before.
Right.
This is so radically different from where we were in the first two.
And that was part of the mandate that we had been asked to do, is that they wanted the first two movies, obviously the second movie, we try to cram in a lot of the mythology of Mortal Kombat. And then this is kind of a departure, but really, if you're watching this, you know that really this is just an expansion of a cutscene from the video game.
Yeah.
Where when you're playing the video game and you win as certain characters, you have different outcomes, and this one happens to be the outcome of Kano.
Well,
Look at this truck.
when we started on this, we came up with a bunch of different ideas.
Yeah, we did have a, oh, come on.
And I thought the interesting thing about this one was like, well, what if we went in, there's like alternate realities in Mortal Kombat, right? And you finish the game with different characters, you get different endings. So
Right.
what if we played one of those endings out?
Right.
What would that world become? And
Right.
so it basically opened up this sort of multiverse.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, no, it was cool. And what was cool about it is, as we started to, sorry, that's so demented. That's the thing about these movies that I always love. I'll write, some gruesome stuff, but then I hand it to these madmen and women that work for Rick, and you guys come up with far more violent.
Yeah.
This is a generation growing up on Grand Theft.
What are we doing with it? You know what? The funny thing about that one, the tire smashing the head,
Yeah.
is my wife walked in while I was, we're doing all this stuff from home. We're working on all this stuff at home.
Yeah.
And we have been for the last few years, but
Ugh.
I was showing her walked into my office and saw some of the early footage that came in, and I was like, here, you got to see this one. Look at this. And I showed it to her, and my devious laughter, and she was like, oh God.
Oh man.
You did that, didn't you? I was like, yeah.
Yes, I did.
Yes, I did.
So, this is Kung Lao. I mean, I'm sorry.
Shang Tsung.
Shang Tsung. Boy, if I got that wrong.
You did.
This is old Shang Tsung, which, it's weird because when we were coming up with these ideas and we started circling around what this was going to be, we really struck on the idea of Black Dragon, within the context of the mythology of Mortal Kombat. And then it led us to what are other characters that are involved in the Black Dragon, which kind of populated. And there were lesser known characters, which is really cool, lesser known characters for people that maybe have a cursory knowledge of Mortal Kombat. So this has been really great. Your design of Kano is bananas.
Well, yeah.
He's like this mechanized.
Well, the idea here was we wanted to switch up the style a little bit.
Yeah.
And so early on, we brought in this fantastic comic book artist named Dan Mora to do some concept designs.
Yeah.
And so he did some Kanos for us. He did some Kenshi and Kwai designs. And this one was largely unchanged. I mean, most of his designs were largely unchanged, just sort of tweaked. But this one is pretty much what he did. I just thought it was so cool.
It's very cool.
And it makes sense, too. Everything in this world, it's sort of a post-apocalyptic Mad Max sort of world. But out of everyone, Kano's
Right.
got the modern stuff, the
Right.
plating,
And that's what we come to find out is that, he's kind of shaped this world in a way.
Yeah.
So it's like that adage of like, I'd rather rule in hell than serve in heaven. That's kind of what Kano's doing right now. He's like the ruler of hell.
Yeah. Well, I think the cool thing about Kano, too, as being the sort of main villain in this, is he's so...
Aaron Black.
Yeah, Aaron Black. Such a cool character. He's
So
got like
cool.
no lines in this movie.
I know. It doesn't matter. He's like,
No,
he's
but
like
it fits. I mean, I felt
Yeah.
like when we started doing this, it was like, yeah, Aaron Black, we got to have him in there
Yeah.
somehow. But Kano's such a fun villain because he's just bad, like through and through. Like there's nothing redeeming about him.
Right.
There's no like You know, he's not like a Magneto or something like
Right.
that, where he has a noble goal. He's
He's
like, there's
just-
no gray
yeah,
to him at all.
yeah.
He's just mean, and he's mean to be mean.
I love that. So one of the things we did know what we were going to do was after Scorpion's Revenge, we were like, we have to do something focused on Sub-Zero. Give him, because when you see Scorpion's Revenge, obviously, you know, the first Sub-Zero is killed, and then within the second one, the brother shows up. And I remember people being like, at the time, Scorpion's Revenge, and we had already known, I think when it came out, we knew we were doing this one. We're really like, oh, I want to see Sub-Zero. And the sucky thing about animation sometimes is like, you know, and you can't say anything for like 2 years.
I know.
And look at the kunai in the background and stuff that, you know, we talked about and you planted there, which is nice and subtle.
Yeah, we didn't want to dwell on it too
Yeah.
much, but it's there, and it comes into play later, of course, in a bigger way.
And I think one of the things that's interesting about what we're doing here is that this plays less crazy than a lot of our movies do in terms of how much time between violence. Like there was that massive violence scene there. There's going to be more violence, but I feel like a lot of our movies, we're really, really quick with this. This seems like postponed because we're going to get that catharsis when.
Well, that's the thing
Sub-Zero-
I really like about this film that I think is different than the other two, of course, is like the other two had so many characters in
Yeah.
it, and we were trying to service so much story
Yeah.
in, you know, a less than 90-minute film.
Right.
That we didn't really get to sort of sit and
Dwell on the
explore a
characters.
character for very long.
Yeah.
But with this, we had an opportunity to kind of slow it down a little bit.
Yeah.
And
As we're watching a donkey try to outrun a
right. But there's Kwai.
These are CGI backgrounds.
Not entirely. There are certain shots, and of course the vehicles are.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's great. It's pretty seamless.
There ain't nothing for miles around here.
She was interesting because I think the first version of her came off a little Harley Quinn. That
Yeah, that's right.
we had to kind of like backtrack on that and find something a little different.
Well, the fun thing with these characters is
Kill you for that.
like Cabal, for instance.
Yeah.
You know, we have this sort of Mad Max type world, and design-wise, he just kind of fits right in.
Totally.
We didn't have to adjust him much at all. But for Kira and Cobra, you know, Cobra is such a, you know, he's in the games. He's just kind of a more generic-looking
Yeah.
character. He's got the long flowing blonde hair. but
Right.
Then, you know, he's wearing a gi, and that's
Right.
about it. We had some leeway to kind of mess with his design and
Right.
amp it up and put him into this world. And same with Kira.
Yeah, Kira's really looks like she could come out of a post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah, I think she's my favorite, honestly.
Yeah, this is a cool thing because we have Sub-Zero just establishing that this guy isn't fighting back. He could, but he doesn't. And as we start digging into his story and finding out why, you know, this is a nice, you know, moment of, you know, here's story time. I remember I started doing martial arts when I was younger. My dad, he was like, listen, it's not about what you can do. It's about what you can do and not do it. And that's where Sub-Zero is right now. You know, mainly because he knows what happens when he lets go. He's the ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
That old man was headed someplace.
Maybe he was nuts. The desert will do that to you.
You would know. Let's go back before King Kano throws a fit.
We'll go back when I'm ready. King Kano be damned.
I'd watch it, Cabal. He's made us something. Something bad. Something powerful. You'd be wise to remember that.
Yeah, look at the flowing hair.
Yeah, I think that was the fun thing about this film, and I kept telling everybody, like, it's basically, you know, a chance to kind of change the genre in a way of
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat, what
Yeah.
we can do. So it's sort of, you know, a Western by way of, you know, Unforgiven.
Right.
I kept talking about that.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, a movie like Logan,
Yeah.
right? Or even the comic Old Man Logan,
Right.
where it's, you know, sort of the
Yeah.
older hero
Yep.
that's given it up for whatever reason.
and comes back in. I mean, it's, you know, it's also, as we got the characters together and we started looking at what characters we could use, what characters, and we talked about how the fact that we wanted to use characters that we hadn't used
Yeah.
in the last two,
Yep.
and people that we can kind of showcase.
I don't think they'll just let us.
Yeah, because I felt like, especially in the case of Shang Tsung, who plays a big role here,
Yeah.
you expect him to sort of be the main
Right.
bad guy in
Right.
every Mortal Kombat.
Right. We talked about that twist a little bit too.
Like we have a hero.
Yeah, and you'll see that later, of course.
Yeah.
But I thought that was, I don't know. In my head, I felt like as a viewer, if I saw early on Shang Tsung like bowing to Kano, I'd
Yeah.
be like,
What?
what?
Totally.
This isn't right. Obviously,
Totally.
he's gonna kill Kano, and
Right.
I don't want to kick your ass. I want to kick all three of your
Now listen, I may have done that as a drastic homage to the great Jeff Speakman movie Perfect Weapon. And there's one person listening to this audio commentary that understands what I'm talking about. But this is such a great. We wanted to showcase him and be able to kind of show his origin story. And these are all really their canonical origin stories, but put through the lens of this post-apocalyptic world that Kano's
it's
kind of
right.
formulated.
It's pretty true to
Yeah.
what Kenshi's origin is. It's just, like you said, put through a different lens.
Yeah.
It's like an alternate reality version of it.
Yeah, I mean that's what Ed Boon and Dominic over at NetherRealm, their team there, they've created these elaborate, incredibly complicated and deep origin stories for everybody. And a lot of times they don't have the space to really go into detail about their emotional space. So like the Kenshi aspect, that's one of the fun things about doing these movies is we get to take those pieces and kind of like puzzle them together and make a whole story of them. And what's really great about this one is it's not just about Sub-Zero. It's not just about Kenshi. It's not just about Shang Tsung. It's like they're all come together for this revelation that we have at the end, which I'm not spoiling anything.
No, you're not spoiling. You can actually say it.
Yeah. The revelation that Kano's got this device, and that's literally part of the movie, or
Yeah.
part of the game.
Yeah, and I think too,
This is dark. I remember this. We had discussions about this.
did we? What were those discussions?
I remember one of the discussions was we can't shoot the girl. And we were like, no, Kano is evil.
yeah.
Like
There was
somebody had said that. And we were like, no,
but he's a bad guy.
He's a bad guy.
This is what bad guys do. Yeah.
The funny thing for us is because when you watch the game obviously is ultra violent, ultra graphic, but it's so dark. And then right here, they were like, no, you can't do this.
Wait, look at this. It's horrible. Why are you laughing?
It's horrible. There's the guy who did it.
Frame in there where it explodes that you can freeze.
Rick and I have talked about, from Scorpion's Revenge on, we talked about these as kind of grindhouse midnight movies.
Yeah.
Like these are movies that was definitely would play better in a crowd. You get your buddies together and you watch this and you're eating and screaming about the insanity that's taking place.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't take it as ridiculous,
Yeah.
what's happening is horrible.
That's right.
It's right.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't want to make those
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some deaths.
You do want to make those, but don't lie to me. But what I think is hysterical is I just got through talking about how this is our slowest movie, and there's not that much violence, and it's like,
And
oh
we've
yeah,
already
never
killed,
mind.
like,
Yeah.
36 people or more.
What? Oh, so talk me through this. After Scorpion's Revenge, Battle of the Realms, which are excessively violent, excessively creative in their violence, how do you go to your guys and say, okay, we've got to up it, we've got to do more, we've got to make it more creative?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really is trying to treat the deaths as like gags. It's almost
Yeah.
like like doing a Looney Tunes style thing where you're trying to like
Right.
with something that makes you snicker or chuckle, unless it needs to be dramatic. And
Sure.
we certainly have those moments in here.
So you guys are basically professionally getting paid to play what's grosser than gross. You remember, as a kid, it's like, oh, what's grosser than gross? Let me show you what Kano does.
It's funny too because, we've got great board artists on this, and one of the storyboard artists, Adam Van Wyck, who did a bunch of the Act C stuff, big fight scene there. I think he's one of the best. I think he's one of the best action guys in the business.
Yeah.
And he just goes wild with his creativity and stuff like that. And I remember he turned his first pass in of stuff and was like, I don't know, it seemed like a little unsure. And I had told him prior, like, look, just don't hold anything back. You can go as violent as you want. And I think he still didn't realize like how violent we could go. So it was basically like no, actually,
You can up
you
it.
can do this.
You
Like,
can turn it to
if
11.
you did this, and
Yeah.
then you rip the spine out and have him stab him with the spine and do that. And he was like, and I just remember
what is wrong with you people?
he's on the Zoom call just kind of like laughing, like, really? Okay. And then he came back and it was like, whoa, wait a minute. What did you do? Awesome.
Did you guys, I mean, was there a little bit of competitiveness in that? Like board artists going like, oh, watch what I'm going to do,
Well, unfortunately, because of the way that we're
COVID.
sort of working,
Yeah.
we're separated in a way. So there's not, we did some reviews with some of the artists where they're seeing other people's stuff and
Yeah.
feeding off each other.
Yeah.
But we're all kind of separate. So
Yeah.
in a way, it sort of filters through me to kind of get that.
Your sick
push
brain?
and stuff like
Excellent.
that. Yeah.
And I know how that goes. I mean, that's a cool thing because even the stuff that you showed me, I was held up. Listen, that's a little bit of a joke. All we're doing is 80s action movies in every form. Nobody's gonna get that
Those
joke.
were the best.
Yeah, I know.
The best.
Because they would kill somebody and make a joke. That's basically what we're doing for 90 minutes or 70 minutes.
Ladies.
Come on, Kenshi. You got game. Maybe he'll have better game when he loses his eyeballs. Yeah.
I do have to give a shout out to like our post team on this because they did a lot of visual effects and enhancing picture and stuff like that. That just really, I think, pushed the look on this, made it blown out, and
Yeah.
sort of crispy around the edges.
Yeah, totally.
It's,
Who's doing the music too? Because it's very subtle. It's very good.
yeah, Sound Cats.
Yeah. Sound Cats. Sounds like a character from the Paula Abdul music video. No. She danced with a cat.
She did.
No one cares about that. Let's get back to Mortal Kombat. Oh man. Yeah, I love this because it is like archaic, and then you see these fans, these like worn out fans in the corner. That's rad. You guys, that's great. That was like 6 cuts, and it looked really good.
Never heard of them, huh?
Why? Do you need me to?
Yeah, when we talked about sort of the look of this thing,
What do I want?
the first 2 were basically done in the same style, where it was sort of all angled and
Teach me everything that you
heavy blacks and sharp edges, and I kept calling it like intentionally ugly because Mortal Kombat's an ugly world.
Sure.
For this, we still wanted to retain a sort of roughness to it, even go further with that.
Yeah.
You can see in the background paint, it's different, but it's still rough and textured and kind of, it's not all sharp and finished and,
Right.
and everything. And that went to the line work as well. Oddly enough, I told our art director, think of something like 101 Dalmatians. Well, which is it's got a rougher line quality.
Sure,
and you
sure.
can see some of the construction
Yeah,
and the animation underneath and stuff like that. So yeah, we actually use that as a.
Do you guys offer therapy for the people that worked on this afterwards?
No, I mean I've said it before, but I've told our designers and everybody like
Oof.
Don't look at real reference.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're exploding a
The
guy's head,
FBI is
Don't
like
look up
knocking down the door.
yeah, because Warner Brothers will probably lock you out of the network. But also, it's not good for your mental health.
Yeah. So, so it's a guy who I just watch an exploding eyeball.
It's always the eyeball.
Yeah, it's always the eyeball. And a little of that brain matter too. No, I do love that we've done it. We do it like 3 or 4 times, or 3 times that Kwai like rejects the opportunity to unleash himself,
Yeah.
which is great. You know, because here we talked about this a lot. The fact that he bows before these people, and
That he's willing, almost
yeah,
eager in a way to
philosophically. You know, I was mercilessly bullied and beat up in junior high, especially, and the idea that you can do something to appease the bully is such a lie. You know, that you buy into. You're like, I'll bow if that means I get to be left alone. But you don't get left to be left alone. It's just going to mean you're going to be picked on.
You just get pushed further and further out.
So I think that's part of it. And that's a great trope within martial art movies, right? It's like that kind of thing where it's like, until you are willing to stand up for yourself, you are not going to be left alone at all.
Yeah, and I think that's part of Kenshi's story here too.
Yeah.
In that when we first meet him, he's out for
Ego-driven.
glory.
Yeah.
Right? He just wants to.
Yeah. That is interesting. It's the opposite of Kwai, because Kwai is like, he's so there's no ego in a way, but it's like there's ego within having no ego. It's like, I just want to get through the day because I know I can kill everybody. You know,
Right.
I'll do anything.
Well, it's also the thing where he has the means to
Right.
help people.
Right.
He can.
Right.
He's got a unique
great
set of
power.
skills.
Yeah,
He's very
yeah.
powerful. He can put an end to this stuff, but he won't.
Right. And it's like, you have the responsibility to stand up, but you're not going to,
Right.
which is interesting. And then you have him who's doing it for the wrong reasons. I just want to be the best. I just want to show people how great I am. And that within, especially like martial arts, it's like that there's no humility there. There's no egolessness. And so his journey of going from this person of ego and driven just by ego, I want to be the best, it handicaps him. And then Kwai is able to teach him that there's something more. You know, the martial art aspect of it is it's about self-control. But there's a time to, you know, destroy everything. Because the quote, one of the things we talked about, that one ancient samurai quote, it's like, it's better to be a fighter in a garden than a gardener in a fight type thing. I butchered that quote.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's like, there's literally, it's like a samurai quote of like, you know, it's better to be a killer in a garden than a gardener killing people or something crazy. But the point is, that, you know, the world's a terrible place sometimes, and you've got to be able to protect yourself and protect others, and hopefully, and if you don't have to use it, great. But what sucks is if somebody comes into your village and you have the ability to do it and you don't, I don't know, that might be a greater sin, you know, in the context of the story too.
Right.
I have been in your position before. You are a
Shang Tsung, I love that we made him weak and made him weak and famished and subservient and so different than what you expect as a fan of the series. But the core nugget of him being an absolute selfish a-hole,
Oh yeah.
that even in the version of a world that Kano designed, he's still the guy that's like, I'm going to figure out how to become...
Well, he's never changed. He's
never changed.
He's still scheming.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
still-
yeah. If we ever get to do another one further down, I would love to do the origin story of Shang Tsung, because his origin's really wild.
Yeah, that's the thing. Again, about these is like, even with this, we explore
A fraction of the universe? Yeah.
right. And that's the cool thing is like, I felt like with this film, since we were able to sort of do something a little bit, I don't know, unexpected maybe with this, you know?
Yeah.
And sort of a different sort of genre type film.
Yeah.
in my mind, it opens up
Right.
everything in Mortal Kombat. Like, you can make any kind of movie. And they've got any kind of hero or villain you could ever want.
And
So-
they mash together time and space. Like, you're like, there's ninjas. Is that modern? You know, it's
Right.
like people with bionics. I love that. And especially in this movie, when we talk about at the end with the hourglass, and we like show that we basically could do any version of any of these stories in Mortal Kombat. And they've rebooted, you know, in the game, and because this is straight out of the game. You know, the well.
This is the Well of Souls.
Yeah,
and Sento and
yeah, all that stuff. And Shang Tsung tricking him into doing it. Which when I was reading about it and watching the cutscenes, and I can't wait to see it. I'm so excited. The scene with the spirits coming up and blinding him.
This language.
I thought, wow, that's cool. They got some sick guys over there in Chicago.
Well of souls. The power.
I also love that in a post-apocalyptic world, he has a pretty fashionable haircut. So, kudos.
good-looking guy.
To the barber somewhere in the desert village.
Damn it! It's not opening.
That's also one of the things I love about Mortal Kombat is it's just like a mashup of like 1,000 genres put in a blender. You know, mysticism and science and military.
Blood magic.
And what a fun thing for them, too, to be able to just go in any direction they want to go in. What's interesting about, one of the things I love about this, too, is that we have removed ourselves from the tournament aspect of
Yeah, I mean, that's a
Mortal
bit, yeah,
Kombat.
that is a big thing. It's like Mortal Kombat doesn't need to, you know,
Always be a tournament,
revolve
yeah.
around the tournament, story-wise, I don't think. And this does it.
Yeah. Look at that. It's gorgeous. Who you going to call?
You can see our influences
Yeah.
everywhere.
Sung, help me!
Well, then, for the Nightmare on Elm Street fans out there,
Yeah.
you'll see.
My name is Shang Tsung.
Oh, crud. I forgot that that's the first time we reveal that that's his name.
No.
Did we tell it up front,
Yeah,
didn't we?
yeah. This is just him revealing it to Kenshi.
Right. Which, again, is in the game, is that he put on an alternative name. Oh, look at that. That's disgusting.
Yeah, Song.
Yeah, Song, yeah.
It's not a very.
No.
Not a,
He didn't really.
he didn't try
work
very hard.
But, you know.
It was enough. There we go.
Yeah.
See, here's the spirits.
There
I
you
know.
go.
This always reminded me of
No, totally Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
All the souls of the children.
Yeah. Which one is that? Is that 4?
I think so.
No, I think so.
Yeah. Oh, is it? Yeah. Uh-oh. Nothing. This is the Pearl Cream. Do you ever see those commercials? Look at, he looks great. What kind of diet you on, buddy? Soul eating. Look at him. It's like, forget hair club for men. Just got to suck a couple souls down. Hair turns brown.
What shall I do?
This is jacked up. What I love about it is that,
Don't want to live like this.
you know, you're like, oh, what a terrible guy. Oh, now, Shang Tsung's going to be, now he's going to do it. Mm-hmm. And it's like, again,
no.
these reversals that we keep doing in this movie. I think what's fun, one of the things that's fun about it is it's so unexpected, the different little twists and turns that constantly happen. Especially if you're a fan of Mortal Kombat and you're thinking, oh no, Shang Tsung's this.
Oh, he's got the souls now. He's all jacked
he's
up.
going to do,
go
okay,
and-
now we're going to get rid of Kano because Kano's dumb. You know,
Right.
Kano's a henchman.
What are
Poor guy. Thrown in a well. What's interesting about this, even in the origin story, was that's like Shang is thinking he's so powerful he doesn't even have to concern himself with
Oh,
this
you haven't
guy.
seen this yet?
No.
Check this out. One of the things that we did get away from in this film, I think noticeably, are the X-rays.
Oh yeah, the X-ray attacks
the-
in-
yeah, in
from
the
Scorpion
fights.
in battle. Yeah.
And as much as I love those,
That's
I was
cool.
concerned about going to the well too many times. For that. And also,
literally.
jeez, I did that. Sorry. Yeah. But
That's cool. That's like a cool radar.
right, because we have the Kenshi
Yeah.
vision, it almost serves that purpose, and we see it later in the film. But also,
How do you do that? I mean, that's
Yeah, that took a lot.
that seems like that would be a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I said. Our VFX team,
Really
Warner Brothers, did.
kicked it.
We worked with them right up front to sort of develop the look at that before
Right.
we sent it out to animation studios to kind of try to implement.
Yeah.
Because it was, especially once you have, it's a static image, it's one thing, but
Yeah.
once you have character animation working under it and stuff like that, it becomes a little trickier.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about some of the things that kind of like got cut from these scenes. The dogs.
The dogs.
Yeah.
I don't remember the dogs.
So originally, we had a moment where it was much longer, obviously, where they were. It took a little more time to get to the well, and they were attacked by no, not dogs. The
Revenants.
Revenants. Yeah.
We had a whole scene.
Yeah.
Where Shang Tsung
Yeah.
and Kenshi talk about
The Revenants.
the Revenants.
Yeah.
And we also had a scene where they passed by Kwai's farm.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
We
he's-
actually boarded those scenes out, but you know what?
It's just so quick too. If we had 10 more
it's
minutes.
just right. No, honestly, it felt like it worked better to keep the
Yeah.
Revenants as this sort of faceless threat.
Totally.
We see them later on when we get into his history of it.
Right.
But yeah, it just
Well, it's interesting now because I'm watching it. Obviously, in the scripting phase, we kind of put those scenes in too because I felt like there wasn't enough. It was
Right.
like and there wasn't enough between moments. But watching it now, it's like, oh, it's really quick too. I mean, there's still like scene to scene, action to action, still is happening really fairly quickly.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then here comes a big confrontation scene, which, again, I think is such a great, like, oh, Shang's gonna tear Kano
Yeah,
apart.
here it comes.
Yeah.
Big showdown here.
How dare you!
This is great. I gotta remember to keep talking because otherwise I'll start watching it.
You can watch it.
No, I can't watch it. People don't click on audio commentaries.
I've been wondering where you got off
The accent's so good.
Well, this is probably a good time to mention David Wenham.
Yeah.
Who, did Kano for us.
Unbelievable.
And how, it's like you don't geek out as a producer.
You don't. Yeah. As a producer,
as
sure.
much. Well, no, you try not to.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's like you do geek out. But Lord of the Rings is one of my
Right.
favorite things in ever.
You told me they reacted, or some of the voiceovers.
Well, that's my favorite part about doing the ADR
Yeah.
on something like this is like they come in and do the initial records, and then we work the boards and we do the animation. And then once we've got animation, the actors come back in to do all the grunts or if we have any changes to dialogue, stuff like that.
And a lot of these guys have never seen these. So
And
they
they've
don't
never
know.
seen it.
Right.
So in the case of someone like David Wenham, he's doing all these grunts, additional
Right.
efforts, and all that stuff for Kano, and he's seeing the stuff for the first time. So frequently we'll get the actors just kind of like busting up as they start to, as we preview it for them because they're like, it's just so fun to watch. It's my favorite. That's got to be my favorite.
What
part
is
of the
happening?
whole- yeah.
Well, this is such a great turn.
Impossible. Your soul.
Oh, mate. I'm way past.
I'll just let you
having
watch
a
this.
soul.
That's great. Oh! Give that man a hand. That's why they pay me the little bucks, Rick.
That's right. Well, that's the fun thing about this too is the sound design.
Yeah, it's gruesome.
It is, and it's dense. I mean, these guys do a lot of work on,
Right.
on a film like this because it's especially when we get into Act 3. It's just wall to
Wall to wall. Oh my
chaos.
gosh.
But for something like that, like the arm rip,
Yeah.
it's like, and these guys, I've worked with them a long time. They're great, and the Sound Rebels, and they kind of know what I'm looking for
Right.
away, so they're trying to make it as squishy and crunchy
That's
and
great.
gross as they can. But then I come in and I'm like, can we make that pop harder? Like,
It's so gnarly. This is the thing. This is the moment where I think a lot of the fans are going to be ready to tweet, there is no way that Kano...
well, he did. In
I
this
know.
reality,
But no, that's what's cool. It's like, because I'm one of those fans. Like, I do that all the time. Like, and then when you twist it and you explain why, it's such a great, oh, thank goodness you covered up those blackened eyes. I don't want to look at it anymore. Neither does Kenshi.
Calm yourself.
Where?
So now we're in the, like,
in Kwai's hut.
and we're also, Kenshi is looking like he looks.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is him. This is the character from the games in a lot of way. Wow, Kwai's put on some weight there, buddy. Come on, buddy.
He's thick.
Yeah.
It's quite Liang. But you can call me old man, as you did in the marketplace.
Yeah, I don't know. I like this sort of heartier version of it.
Oh, it's kind of the Dark Knight Returns version,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
That barrel-chested.
Exactly.
If you died on my land, it might.
Because that's what happens when you get older, right? You just get.
You can rest here. And
Shut up, man. He's a farmer. He should be, I don't know.
The sword. Where is it?
This is great because Rick and I have always talked about there's nothing like a montage training sequence to get you excited, you know, and I know that's coming up. But for me as a kid, every movie I saw that had a montage training sequence was a legit training sequence, by the way. Like, I was in the backyard trying to emulate everything in Kickboxer, you know, blood sport, trying to kick a tree. That wasn't fun. You know, so we took so many things.
My sword.
Yeah, he is bulky.
Ah! It doesn't matter.
Yeah, what's great is that this is kind of
Not anymore.
it's starting to get into Kwai's,
I am half the man.
his mind. You know, there's so much.
Philosophy, right?
Yeah, his philosophy and the trauma that he's experienced and the people he thought he lost his brother. He's experienced all this stuff in the past and really technically maybe all the stuff that happened in Scorpion's Revenge.
Well, yeah, in some fashion.
Some fashion, yeah.
I mean, all that stuff that you know to have happened in the video games or the prior films.
Mm-hmm.
You know, although this isn't a direct sequel necessarily to those two. It's not a sequel.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that tournament happened.
Right.
The you know,
My honor.
the invasion still happened.
Right.
All that stuff.
more to life than honor.
And here's what's great about this: these two are on the polar opposite ends, and you know there's more to life than honor. But he's also like, you have a responsibility, and they both meet in the middle in a way. It's like it's not enough to not do anything, but you also don't need to do something just because you want to stroke your ego,
Right.
You know, and that's kind of the cool thing. They both travel somewhere, so Quiet is not the
Well,
traditional
I just love
Mr.
this.
Miyagi.
Wait, listen to this music for a second here. I just love this this beat when we come up on the sunrise here.
Okay.
I just love how we slowed this part down. This is my bridge over the River Kwai sort of moment there.
That's great.
It's very
That's
rare
great.
that we get to sort of slow down.
It's
and
weird
linger
that
out
the
there.
first version you wanted polka. No, that is really it's really nice, and it's really nice to slow it down, and it's really nice that we're getting. Again, this is like
Those don't matter. The only thing
one of the things that I have a joy of. I literally could say to my wife, "Listen, I'm doing research as I watch Blind Fury for the 30th time." Or, you know,
I don't know. Does she still buy that?
no. But the fact that I get to rewatch all these great action. There was all these really great. There's this guy named for the life of me, I can't think of his name. It's all these energy drinks I'm drinking. But Norton, he's a great martial artist, and he used to do all these incredible movies with with Cynthia Rothrock and all these Chinese movies, and he had a lot of the training sequences. Like, I was always looking at these old movies that he had done, and there's also like 38 Chamber Shaolin, which has the best training sequences.
The Rocky.
Yeah.
Watch too with the chicken. I still maintain that's one of the best film series of all.
Oh, are you kidding me? If I ever feel lazy, you watch one montage and you're doing push-ups. And then you just want to fight somebody, which isn't great.
Here we go. Now we're bringing in the kunai again.
Wall over there. It glows. It's powerful.
A promise.
I love that. I love that you didn't just stick that in there. Like, this is the first time we're acknowledging it, but it's always been there. It's always in the frame.
Yeah.
When he walks past to do his coffee.
Well, it's important that we see it and start to set that up, because it is going to play a role in the end.
Right.
An important role.
When I hold it, I can see. Sort of.
But I love these moments that we can sort of, this part of the film, Act B, sort of slows down quite a bit. It's got the training montage, but pace-wise, we're just spending time on a farm watching these guys connect.
Yep. Richard Norton. It was going to drive me crazy.
I'm glad you got it.
Well, he was also a stunt guy in all the Mad Max movie stuff. So the fact that we're hinting at his kind of telekinesis here too is super cool.
Right. Yeah, we had to build that up for later.
I think, Rick, you and I, like the first two movies, we really thought we were only going to be able to do 2 movies.
Yes.
And I also feel like we are kind of also Easter egging now of things we could follow him from this movie, and we could follow his adventures in this world if they ever said, hey, we want you to follow, we're not just telling it all and showing it all right then.
No, if there was ever a demand for something like that, I mean, but it goes to what we were saying in when we did the first film too, is like you could take any one of these characters, I think, pretty much.
Yeah.
And
like Johnny Cage.
Like Johnny Cage.
All right.
Or...
Well, but I mean, there's a lot of other characters. I mean, there's a huge fan base for Aaron Black too. And when you see his design and you see him in this context, it really makes sense.
Right. And, I know some people are going to be upset that some of their favorites are a little more than Easter eggs in this film. But, to me, it's like, I'd rather see them.
Yeah.
Even if we don't get to delve too heavily. And then somewhere down the line, maybe it'll be us.
See, by the way, this is a kickboxer scene where he drops a coconut on Van Damme's giant 8 abs. That's what I felt too, and I hope fans understand. And you try to make them understand that, like, you and I don't have carte blanche to do whatever we want. There are responsibilities and monies and assets and things like that. As much as I've heard people say, oh, you can do anything in animation. It's like, well, if you have the money, yeah,
Well, there is an element to that, of course, right? A big...
Well, we got to get approvals. I love that. This music's really good.
It's awesome.
This is the type of training montage music.
The funny thing is too, like, I just really liked what they did, but when we got into the mix, we started listening to it, and it's got those cool like bells in there.
Yeah, that's what I was hearing. I was like, oh yes.
And those were kind of mixed down, like way down in the mix. But you could kind of hear them back there. I was like, man, push those up, like make that more.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
We brought those forward, and it became more of a prominent element in the music.
I love that.
I had that. And now I'm a blind man who chases chickens all day.
And that is what you will.
I love this
and that is why
speech
you
here.
fail. Do you know why I agreed to train you?
You felt sorry for me.
No. Because I've been where you are now. So low that the only thing you pray for is your death.
Yes.
But I learned only children blame their circumstance.
Yeah.
Men change their circumstance.
We talked about this.
Yeah, this was a big part of the. This was actually the central part of our
The
discussion.
men change their circumstance.
Yeah, people
That's a huge tenet.
have to do it.
Yeah.
Right? You
And
have
that's
to
a
do it
huge
yourself.
tenet in martial arts. It's like you can overcome. That's
Right.
I mean, by the way, anime, manga, Rocky,
Right.
all those things. It's like the idea that you don't have to be content where you are being, a sad sack.
All the great heroes have to fight against something, right?
That's right.
To achieve their goals, to achieve their...
And the best heroes have to fight against themselves. That's kind of the,
Doesn't this
thing.
smell worse than a bag of vinegar?
And this is classic work with your senses that you have,
Do not dwell on what you are, but what you can be. There is nothing more poisonous than I can't. You can, if you believe. Even if all of heaven and hell are allied against you, you can.
Yeah, I think that was the most important line in this film.
Yeah.
I think really, like, you can if you believe.
Yeah. I mean, but that's also, he's weirdly, I think that's probably all the training. And when he used to train, the other troops that were under his guard, and he's regurgitating it, but he's also talking back to himself, right? He doesn't necessarily believe that now. And he's kind of relearning as he's teaching Kenshi, which
Right.
I think is pretty cool too. Because you can see he's
Well, I think it's
investing
like he
himself
says
in
at the
him.
end, like, he knows this stuff to be true.
Right.
He's not necessarily living by it.
Right,
That's,
right. Because he had this trauma or whatever, and you give up, and then it's like, okay, well, at some point you have to move forward. And I think you and I are always usually on the same page with the messages we're trying to portray in a lot of these movies.
Yeah.
In terms of,
Well, I think-
we're not the Saw people. We're the,
Right.
we're the. No, we want there to be hope. We want there to be, and that's what I think makes some of the violence palatable, is that there's a message. It's not just, oh, we're doing it for violence sake, even though that's a huge
Well, and also, there are clear-cut heroes and villains.
That's
in
right.
In this film.
That's
So
right.
We have to set that up and work.
Right. Well, and it
towards
gives
that
an
goal.
arc. Like when we did Scorpion, it was like, it was justified. He broke out of hell to try to save his family.
Yeah.
And this is kind of a different version of where this guy became uncontrolled.
Yes.
Is this, oh, we're getting it. We're getting it. We're getting to it.
Yeah.
That's me rubbing my hands together. Excited.
A long time ago. Before the wasteland. Before everything.
I love this. And actually,
I become one of the most feared.
I'm trying to remember, but we talked about the dream sequence, and we were instituting it, and then
There's a little Easter egg. Night
Yeah.
Wolf. We've been trying to get him into one of these films for a while now, and he gets in one shot as a revenant. So there you go, all you Night Wolf fans. We did it.
But I remember this particular scene I wrote fairly late in the scripting process.
Like a hive of bees.
But it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and we were pretty loose with our take on the revenants here too.
Sure.
They're sort of meant to be a more
Yeah.
faceless
Zombie.
fear entity, right?
Right.
That Kano's sort of using.
Right. Right.
But yeah, they're kind of more like zombies. in
Yeah.
this.
Fearing for my life, I summoned a storm of ice,
I love this.
but I lost control.
I love that he's a weapon of mass destruction.
Dreams.
For a long time.
So you didn't kill any kids in this movie, Rick.
Oh,
How
just wait.
I figured.
Just wait. Yeah, that was perfect timing actually, because let's see.
Oh, I know.
There you go.
Jeez, man.
Next shot.
Oh.
When it was all over, I was the only one to survive.
Oh, man.
And I realized that death begets death. And the cycle of violence continues. Like the symbol of the black dragon.
And when we started developing this story,
Yeah.
one of the questions that we kept running up against was what would put him in this position? What would get him to
Right.
stop fighting? What would,
It's worthy.
and
If I start fighting,
I don't remember exactly how we hit upon him killing the whole clan. Or...
I think that, I mean, it was that question though of like what would stop a killer from killing, you know, in a way. And when you do so much trauma, and I think, I don't know, for me, the fact that he was all about control and he lost control and it became this thing that wreaked so much destruction, not just for him, by the way, but like the other members of his clan.
He
like,
wiped him out.
Yeah. I mean, he was just trying to survive. He's trying to you know.
Now clean it for supper.
What?
And
Not Simone.
not Simone.
You'll have to find it again if we are to eat.
Uh-oh. Smoke on the horizon. And here we start entering into the third act. I'm very excited
Yeah.
because you showed me one little piece. And it was,
Did I?
It was so gross.
What did I show you?
It's near the end when the gears start happening.
Oh, when it pops
yeah.
him? Yeah, oh yeah. I was particularly proud of that one, I guess.
Again, one of the cool things about the construction of the story is that we pay off everything that we have in there. Whether it's Shang Tsung looking at a door, and we go back to the door and we make sure that you know what's behind that door. You know, whether it's the kunai, whether it's all these things.
Yeah.
And what I like about it is that they're subtle in a way that you think, oh, he's just talking about a kunai, and he's hinting at Scorpion. And so people watching this are just going like, oh, that's referencing Scorpion. They don't know what's about to happen.
Right.
You know, with the summoning, which is great.
Oh, bravery.
And that's one of my favorite scenes in this film when we get to it.
Right.
I remember just loving that idea at the script phase.
Yeah.
How cool that was.
The summoning of it. And I also love, you know, this old man is just straight up like, I'm not kneeling.
Kill me then. But no, I will die as a
Yeah,
free
poor
man,
Peter.
on my feet
Peter.
instead of on my knees, like a coward.
Oh, I like you. I like you, old man. Yeah.
Oof. Oh, gosh. I'm not laughing, Rick. That was you.
I know.
It's the bang right before he pulls the trigger.
I tell you, freedom is overrated.
That was tricky.
That one?
Yeah, that moment was
Killing
tricky
him?
because because
You like the guy?
that's not one of the deaths that you want to necessarily chuckle at, right? He's making.
Oh,
a
you mean
stand.
in terms of, yes, I get what
The-
you're
the
saying.
feel of it. This is where you have to sort of
It's
change up.
dark, but because he's playing Kwai so kind of comical in a way, or not Kwai, but Kano in a comical
There's
way.
a lot of names.
I know,
that
there's a
start
lot of
with K in
Ks
this. Yeah.
and Shangs.
Kano, Kira, Cabal.
Yeah. The fact that that he does it with the bang and he kills people, it's like, it's dark, but it's also, I inadvertently chuckled because it was like, it was almost a Joker moment.
Right.
Of that,
Right.
like, bang, boom.
Well,
and you're like, oh, that's dark.
That's actually like the inspiration from that is from a historical moment.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then here's Kenshi basically calling him out for all the things that he taught him and then walking away to go help, you know? And so we get a little skirmish here, which is needed.
And this isn't the city you failed to save from the revenants.
I think that line was a little different there. The this isn't the city
Right.
that you failed to save from the revenants. I
It
can't, I
might
can't
be.
remember exactly what it was, but I do remember us making an adjustment there because it felt like that's a real like punch to the gut.
Right.
You know.
Right.
It's like,
He's calling him out.
yeah.
And also here's this moment where we think, oh, he cares. He's gonna do something. And then it's like, nope, he still doesn't care enough. You know. I can do that. When I'm wearing my 0G belt.
But I love how
Yeah, he doesn't. He's just.
we brought back the music from the training montage.
Yeah, it's great.
To kind of tie these things together.
Wham, sucker. Yeah, I love the fact that even though he trained this guy, we're still hinting at the fact that he didn't react. He did one punch and knocks this guy down.
Oh, yeah.
So like the threat of what Kwai can do is all there. And so when he's unleashed,
Taught me a better way.
it's great.
No, I can't live a good life, knowing that I could do something to help others and didn't.
Yeah, see that? I love that.
I will not leave them to be killed, imprisoned, or worse.
Your pride will be your downfall.
Doing what's right isn't pride. It's honor. You showed me that. And even if you've lost yours, I won't lose mine.
Boom! I mean, that's more powerful than an open palm tiger punch to the chest. So look at that. I mean, that's gorgeous. And that spaghetti western, you know?
Yeah.
That's great. And I love that he's willing to do it. And that Kwai has to struggle with the fact that, you know, and he's just really using it as an excuse. Kwai is, anyways. I love all the ancillary characters in there.
Oh,
Crazy.
we designed so many of these guys. We had so many to kill. I felt the funny thing about this production was after the massive film that Mortal Kombat 2 was.
Right.
When we started in on this one, I told our production team. I told them, listen, this one's a smaller story. And I believed that until we got in and started working on it, and then it became clear, like,
Right.
pretty early on, that we were going to need to kill a lot of black dragons.
One of you.
Also, this is where he starts letting a little. Doesn't he start kind of?
This is the first
Hinting?
time we see Kenshi at like full
Right,
strength.
right.
Like, this is the
But doesn't
character.
Kano start hinting at? Oh, I'm surprised. You know, or it comes. a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
later.
I mean, he's sort of been doing that, talking
Yeah.
cryptically throughout, you know. But yeah, at the end of this.
I love Jarek. Like we have him, and he's immediately cut in half.
Right. So yeah, that's one of the cameos.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Here he is, Kenshi with his sun sword. Yes. This is great. So the interesting thing is, how many does he kill, and how many do you have to? Oh, jeez. How many do you have to save for the final conquest? To just get more henchmen? That was great. This
yeah.
little 360 camera
yeah.
move, which in animation is no small feat.
It's difficult, you know, especially with this many characters. We asked a lot of our animation studio
Yeah,
on this film, but I think they really pulled it together in the end.
that's jacked up. Well, there you go.
But I do like this idea that, you know, Tremor is like his villain. It's
Right.
Like he's the thing that he
His
has to
arch nemesis.
overcome.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's great to give him that. Also, I mean, it's a departure. Tremor's character design's a departure. And he kind of looks,
We amped it up a little bit.
Hulkish.
It's pretty close. Yeah, we did make him bigger.
he's thick.
Yeah.
He's on that post-apocalyptic steroid juice that Kane was on.
You should have seen some of the early designs. Really? Yeah, the stuff that Dan Mora did initially was pretty wild. And
That's great.
we brought it back closer to the game. I don't know, maybe in the special features you'll see
That's awesome.
some of the early design stuff, but I thought it was really cool, but he was definitely more of a monster type.
Sure.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous.
There's this, you know, there's a moment in these Mortal Kombat movies where, you know, the violence becomes, you're just like, oh yeah, all right. Oh, poor guy.
Well, that's the cool thing that I wanted to do here too. Was, you know, I love, like in a movie like Die Hard,
Yeah.
John McClane gets messed up and he gets messed up.
Yeah.
And he's feeling it throughout
Yeah.
the rest of the film, you know.
And Kenshi gets messed up.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I wanted to do. I wanted to, like, you know,
You know, it's
have
weird.
some consequences
Right.
to the damage they're taking here.
Have you ever read the Dark Tower series by Stephen King?
I haven't.
there's a moment where Roland, the main character, gets his like fingers blown off and stuff, and it's a weird, like, I'm like, oh, I hate that. I hate it because my hero is handicapped, and we kind of do that to Kenshi in this, and yet
No, not kind of. We
well,
totally.
I know, but I mean, we handicap him, but
Here we
he's
go.
still
Here's
good. Yeah, here's the thing.
This is a scene.
Him coming to the realization. I remember this because I was like, yeah, it'll be the shape of a dragon. You're like, no. But it was great. You did it. You did it in a subtle fashion.
I did it. I tried to make it subtle.
Because what was it? Was it just because of the crow, right? Like, it was like everybody did it?
It was such a trope.
Yeah,
like,
I
it was
know,
such
I know.
I was just.
So the meaning behind this, though, is not only is he summoning Scorpion, but he's burning his old life. Like,
Right.
He knows that this is
It's
the
over.
end of his
He's
old
not
life.
coming back to
He's
this
not coming.
place.
He's not making coffee.
He can't.
No. But this is such a cool moment. Like the fact that Scorpion is just like who's that? What? I think that'll be a crowd-pleasing moment, Rick.
Well, I hope so.
Look how demonic this guy looks.
Yeah. So since we're doing a future tale, alternate reality thing, we were sort of, well, what is Scorpion at this point? And I think we
Right.
basically were thinking he's the ruler
Of hell.
Netherrealm.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
And-
in charge down there. So.
And also that he made a deal with Scorpion that's basically like, if I lose control, you've got to stop me.
you have to
You,
end-
you have to
yeah.
take me, you
Right.
know? And we kind of hold to that, which is pretty cool.
Ow! Damn sharp blade, Kenshi. It'll come in handy when I get something stuck in my teeth. What do you reckon?
Here's your... Were there flies flying around that dude?
Yeah. That's from the game. That's from.
He's like, who's the guy from Peanuts?
Basically. Yeah. he's got some moves that involve them too.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
That's good. Because I didn't put him in the script, so that's like, oh, that's great.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things where we needed to fill out some of the
Fill out
henchmen
as
and we
many as
pulled
you
some of the lesser known
Mortal
characters.
Kombat wiki. You know? I love the bullets on the hat. So jacked.
Well, I mean, but it's like I was saying, some of these characters they just didn't have to be changed design wise at all
Right.
to fit into this world.
I love this. Uh-oh.
Is it just me, or is it getting a little bit nippy out here?
A sandstorm.
No. An ice storm. An uncontrollable ice storm.
Yes.
You asked me who taught me the blade?
Oh, man. I'm ready for the violence. Where's my popcorn?
Heaven and hell. There is nothing you can do to stop him.
I love it. I love Sub-Zero as the boogeyman in this kind of like... the frozen head.
how are they still screaming
Yeah,
through
it
that?
doesn't matter. In ice, no
Sounded
one can
cool.
hear you scream. This is great. I love that. This is our introduction, and this is really the first time we've
This is
ever
the first
seen
time we
him
see
use his power,
Sub-Zero.
you know?
Yeah.
Where have you been hiding then, eh?
And again, not a design that anyone is familiar with for
Right.
Sub-Zero, but
Right.
Come on then.
this is essentially what Dan Mora did
Put together.
in his initial sketches, and
Yeah.
I just thought it was so cool.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's and that's the other thing about Kano that I think is interesting is that here's a guy who's kind of like he keeps reshaping the world and he's bored.
Right.
You know? He's
right.
looking for a thrill.
Right. He wants to have these engagements. He wants a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
He doesn't ever want to lose.
Yeah.
But he wants
Yeah,
to be
sure.
pushed a little bit.
He doesn't think he can lose.
God knows how long he's been doing this.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the truth of it. And again, this is a byproduct of the fact that Kano won the tournament. How? We don't know.
Right.
You know?
Right.
It's
yeah.
like-
That's not something that we necessarily reveal.
Which is and you know it had to be with trickery.
of course.
But the fact that he did it. Finally she gets her comeuppance.
As horrible as she is, there I don't know.
She pops. No.
There was still something sad about her.
No, because you like the character and stuff. Look at that. Yes. This is jacked. I love it. That's a really cool effect. Oh, oh, come on. Oh, so you still kind of get your X-ray.
Yeah.
Oh, that's jacked. I love it. Uh-oh. He just went Young Guns 2 there. Just took the blade right in the forearm, like Lou Diamond Phillips.
Oh, these guys get
Hey, old
stabbed.
Ben that are watching this, you know what I'm talking about.
They take so much damage.
Oh, I know.
Kwai and Scorpion.
Look at that.
Kenshi.
Oh. That's straight from the game, too. Oh, come on.
Yeah, this little one's nasty. It's Tor and Farah.
Yeah. Is that the same Scorpion Q?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
We
what it
did
sounds
bring
like.
that back.
I love that. How's that audio commentary? Oh, Jeremy's just laughing at a lot of
I
death.
know, right? He didn't have much to say.
A lot of violence. He looks awesome. And the fact that it's Aaron Black and him.
I just love this this showdown here. This is so like a Jason Voorhees moment.
Sure.
What, hey,
It's like, what are you going to do?
Kill a monster now.
Oh, man.
Get over here.
Yes.
It has to be there.
Right? I love that he's like, that's slow. That's jacked.
It is, yeah.
That is messed up. I love it. And he's so much more like controlled, you know? Which is like he's
yeah.
just sure of his
And that's-
demonic ability.
You know, I'm
come
glad
on.
you picked up on that because the even the get over here line
Yeah,
was
it was
a little bit more
slow.
subdued.
Yeah,
than
yeah,
it
yeah.
was, you know.
Assured. He doesn't bother with the dealings of mortal men. Like you can tell that he's just kind of here for Kwai. And oh my gosh. It's like sick people.
I love this
Yeah.
3-on-1 here.
Yeah, I love that he's enjoying it though. You know?
Yeah, he's been looking for this.
Yeah. Man, they really do get jacked up.
Oh yeah.
That's great. Look at all the weapons stuck in them, pulled out. That's really hard. You're board guys.
Oh
like, to
yeah.
be
Oh
frame
yeah.
to
That's
frame,
a.
It's like
that's a difficult shot to pull off. To
Sure.
stay in a wide like that and
just also the choreography of it. Mm-hmm. Look at him, go gadget head. That's amazing.
No one beats Kano. No one beats Kano.
That's great. More meat.
yeah. So I think we.
And this is, by the way, this is one of the first things you had, like, you know, when you write these things, you write it, you turn it in. You guys are doing what you do, and I don't hear about it for a while. You know, occasionally I ask you about it or whatever, you'll tell me, oh yeah,
Right,
it's coming
right,
along, come along.
right.
But one of the first things you talked about is like, and this is such a Rick Morales move, which is, here's an action scene, and you're like, how can we make this more violent, bigger? And so you told me about the gear scene coming up very
yeah.
early on. And you were like, Jeremy, this is crazy. Like, this is great. You know, which wasn't in the original script. It was like, they go into the room and they fight by the hourglass. And you made this whole other thing, this whole other scene,
Yeah. Well,
which is fantastic.
you know, credit has to go to the board artist on that one. You know, we were using that set because it's
Right.
from the games.
Right.
But he actually utilized it within
As
action.
yeah. But I knew you fell in love with it like you had told me early on. And then that I just saw a little bit of it. That's awesome. As a statement, rather, like I love that. Look at that. Come on.
I told, we added blood to that. I remember
It's raining.
The VFX artist just started laughing because I was like, this is just the most blood you've ever done anywhere.
You know what, though? That's a fun thing. I mean, even in comic books, one of the things that I find that I want to do is write something that the people that are working on it, the artists or whatever, have fun doing.
Yeah.
And with these movies, it really seems like, hey, this is not the normal fare that you're going to be able to operate in.
Right. Yeah. I mean, when we're done, with these films,
Shoot.
we're going to miss it. I mean, it's wild because when I first started, you never dreamed that you'd be working on something that we couldn't even punch someone in the face.
No.
A little bit of blood on the lip.
This might be the only rated R thing that we're doing now anyways.
Takahashi. And you are dead.
Look at that. Ah! That's so good. I love that you give him a human face for a moment, because the mask is, he's kind of like hardcore, but that moment of like the mask goes away and you see this like scared face that just immediately melts away is...
It's the only time you see him with that.
Yeah, and it's terrifying a little bit. Look at that.
Yeah, so this is where we're finally starting to reveal.
Yeah.
For the fans, they'll understand what that skull was that we just revealed, and kind of an interesting idea.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
he's using the skull as the key to this thing.
I know that Ed Boon was excited about the prospect of the fact that we were playing with the Mortal Kombat multiverse. Look at that. That's gorgeous. Kronos. That hourglass is cool looking. But here's where we get all the information. So this is what I'm going to point to anytime someone says, you can't do that. I'll be like, listen.
Yeah, well, you know what?
According to...
These shots are directly from the game.
That's awesome.
Right? I mean, we've
Right.
redone them.
Right.
Redrawn them. But, yeah, they're basically moments from
the
endings.
from the cutscenes with Kano. Yeah.
Kano's.
Confused, eh? Well, to be honest, I was too the first time I saw it. It's called Chronica's Hourglass. And with it, I can rewrite time and history.
You did this?
I love that. It's kind of this...
Yeah, because
You did this. It's not only you did this, but it's like, I live in this world that I did this terrible thing because of you.
Right.
Like, the ultimate sin that Kwai did may not exist in another version.
Right. There's of course. There's other realities.
Right.
It didn't
So there's this kind of like,
Standing by.
oh crap,
The world is destroyed.
the revenants, all that stuff. That my worst thing is your fault now. I came to save a kid, but now I'm saving the world.
Well,
I'm
it
saving-
makes it more personal.
Right. Well, it's also interesting because we don't leave it with, oh, now you can remake the world. It's like, no, you got to live, and that's his whole thrust is you got to live with the past and move forward, regardless. That was the line about. There's no excuses. You just gotta keep moving forward.
Right. Well, you change your circumstances.
Yeah. Look at that. Oh gosh. The funny thing is, because you're watching this movie and you see these things clawing, you're watching
Someone's gonna get
the
smashed.
slap chop version. Like eventually, This guy is gonna get chewed up. Ugh. Yeah, so this is part of the scene that you showed me, and I love that it doesn't just look like that. It looks like rib cages and bones.
Yeah, yeah. That was kind of inherent in the design,
Which is
to
cool.
begin with, that we referenced. So
Oh man, there's the fingers. Always at the fingers. Gonna give me nightmares.
well, again,
Cemetery, Achilles heel, nightmares.
I just wanted these heroes to be
Right.
just totally jacked up by the end.
Yeah. No. Here it comes. Here it comes. Oh, come on. With the dangling eyeball.
Right? It's ridiculous.
I do, I like you. I'll tell you what. Kneel before me and pledge your loyalty, and I'll set you up as
Again,
king.
I mean, this is his second bite at the apple. Just kneel.
Antarctica?
Just kneel, just like you did before.
I kneel before no man.
This is the part. This is so effed up. He cuts his own arm off.
Now, I don't remember at this point. Was that? Did you?
No,
I didn't write that.
I did not
Who
have
came
his
up with
arm
that?
cut off, and I didn't. You know, the fact that he grows
An ice arm.
ice arm is rad. But now, look at it. Look at this. He takes his arm that's attached to his old arm and uses his new arm to stab him.
Bollocks.
Ah, bollocks. Look at this. Oh, here we go. Ooh. Oh, come on.
I love everyone's just like a bag of blood in this. They just
bag of
pop, like,
meat and blood. Hey, what's going on here?
Where's Kano?
Lying around.
Lying around.
There you go. There's
Dun,
an 80s
dun,
action movie right there. We gotta have a sax.
Oh yeah. No, that's the only thing that matters.
Yeah, the thing I really like about this film in particular, I think, is the pace of it. Mm-hmm. How it's sort of like, we do start pretty hard. We kill a bunch of people. It's, there's
Yeah.
action throughout. But when you get into that midsection, it kind of slows down for a
Yeah.
bit. But then it gets really ultra violent in this
Yeah.
third act.
Well, it's also a product of like Scorpion's revenge and battle. We had a lot of people
You and I can
that wanted to guide it because it was the first time we were doing this. And then by this point, it was like they trusted us enough to just kind of tell a story that we wanted to tell in a way we wanted to tell
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And I was always grateful because
Which was really, interesting because, and I hope fans can go along with us on this because
Sure.
it is nothing that they've
Yeah.
seen before, right?
No.
This doesn't, in this way, exist in, any of the Mortal Kombat games or,
Right.
But again, I don't think it necessarily contradicts anything that's happened there. It's firmly rooted in the
Right.
lore of
Right.
it to a degree. And I think to me it opens the world up to
look
you
at
can
you.
go anywhere. There's
Yeah.
so many story
Yeah.
possibilities.
Yeah. Once you realize that every ending, especially like every ending in the game, depending on who wins, is a different universe in a way.
I don't understand.
This is.
The Lin Kuei.
But here we set up again, even in this world, it's like, who's the champion of Earthrealm? Who's the protector of Earthrealm? And in this world, there is no one except now it's him.
Right.
He's going to be the kind of protector of this.
Well, I think going all the way back, that's why I wanted to
Right.
show that statue of Liu Kang
Right.
up front because
Right.
he is the champion.
that new
He is
person,
the hero
yeah.
of Earthrealm, and he's gone.
Yeah. And by the way, Kwai's in hell now. So I just,
I mean,
it's
which
this
is
Pyrrhic
basically him dying,
yeah.
right? Getting
Yeah. But it's that kind of thing like, oh, he made this deal with Scorpion too. And it's like, he's got to go. Look at that. Produced and directed by Rick Moranis. Oh, there's my name. Hi. Yeah, these guys. And Ed Boon has been nothing but, he's just been helpful and nice.
Oh,
regards to this
he's
stuff.
awesome.
Yeah.
He's the nicest guy. And
Jimmy
like,
Krieg.
the input that they give us, the feedback. Is,
Yeah.
It's indispensable.
We talked about this a lot because even Wes is just fine voice director. We talked about this a lot when we started, and I thought was so funny the first meeting we had, and they were like, "You guys are too violent," and we're like, "What are you talking about?" you know. And really, what they were talking about was the emotion behind some of the violence. And again, I think after those first 2 movies, they really trusted us to tell kind of a more emotional story for Mortal Kombat than maybe people are used to.
Yeah, I hope that comes across. I think it does.
Yeah.
This was a lot of fun to work on. It
here's
wasn't like anything I've ever done before.
Well,
Style.
Well, okay. So when was the last time you directed prior to this? Because you've been a producer, which is in an animation world is kind of the director in a way, but you had more of a direct hand.
Working with the board artists and the story team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, you're also producing like 6 other movies on the side. I'm not saying what they are.
You know what? It'd been a little while. What's the last thing that I did?
Was it? Yeah, I don't know.
I can't remember. It might have been the
Lego Batman.
Adam West
No. Oh, yeah.
Batman.
Adam West Batman.
It doesn't matter. The fact is, I really love doing that.
Sure.
And
But there was something about this that spoke to you in a way that you were like, I have to do this.
yeah, I think so. I think it was just the idea of doing a sort of post-apocalyptic Mad Maxy Western.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a big fan of the Sergio Leone scores and the filmmaking and all that stuff. So I just wanted to have a hand in this, guiding it.
A more direct hand.
Yeah.
The music's great too. I mean, you can hear it. It's better than a lot of things I've seen.
Yeah. Big shout out to the crew on this, because this was all entirely done during lockdown,
COVID,
things like that. I mean, we were all working from home remotely. Right. I think this might be the first one that was entirely done remotely,
which is crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy to see that the pipeline worked, that you were able to organize that, because that had to be hard.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm Jeremy Adams. That's Rick Morales. Bye.